Guys, you know who it is. Marcus J. Jackson with another Live Life for you. Number 34, that is. All right, Live Life number 34. Part 2 of Homosexuality and the Androgynous Spirit. Special guest tonight, Foxye Jackson is in the building. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. All right. So, every night I'm on here. Well, almost every night. I'm on here from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. Right, to bring awareness to suicide prevention and just suicide awareness in general. This month is National Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month, and the National Suicide Hotline is. I'm going to put that in the comments, and that way, if anybody needs to tap into that information, it is here and available. I put it right there in the comments, so if anybody wants to reach out to any of those individuals, that hotline is 1-800-273-8255. They have resources on hand to help you out in your situation. They are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay. They also they also have a chat. It's the Suicide Prevention Lifeline.org, and that link is in the comments as well. And it's a 24/7 chat line. Okay, and they can get you the resources that you need. That way you can talk to an expert, in suicide prevention and awareness. If you are in danger of hurting yourself or someone else, please hop off of this video, call 911 and get you some help immediately. All right. Yeah, we definitely, we don't want you out there, trying to figure this thing out by yourself. So definitely get you some help if need be. All right. If you want to talk to me, my contact number is 469-626-7486. I am available. I'll be available to talk right after this video, which is about maybe 1 o'clock, until about 2. If you call after 2, I'll still talk to you if I'm up. If you call me during the day, that's totally fine. Just keep in mind I am a realtor and I'm also a life coach, so I'm on the phone anyway. So if I don't answer, please leave me a message or shoot me a text message. All right. Tonight, we will be talking about homosexuality and the androgynous spirit, all right, in honor of the LGBTQ plus community, all right. As you all know, this is Pride. Is it Pride Week or Pride Weekend?
Weekend, both.
Yeah, Pride Weekend, week, and all of that good stuff. Let me see. I don't remember if, I did go live. So go back. I'm not sure which number it is, but homosexuality and the androgynous spirit is part. If you didn't get to see part 1, go back and check it out. Right after you hop off of here. Very good information. It was packed and jammed. So we're definitely going to be sharing some more information today as well. Let me see. And as I said, I have a special guest with me tonight, so she'll be chiming in here in a little bit. Let's go ahead and ground ourselves real quick, bring ourselves back to the present, because a lot of times we are worried about what's going on in the past, and in the past, we want to stay in the past. We don't want to worry about it. We want that to stay in the past. We don't want to worry about it. And we're anxious, so we don't want to worry about things in the future that we don't really have control over, or worry about things that we haven't even come through yet, or that time isn't even there yet, and we're worried about it. All right. So anyway, let me get my. Oh wow. Probably shouldn't have done that, but. Get my water going here. So, yes. A buddy of mine decided to take his own life. He was a veteran. We spent some time in the Army together, and he served in the Army I served in the Army as well, and he decided to take his own life because he could not figure out how to be a homosexual and how to be a Christian at the same time. And as you raise through the hierarchy, uh, as you go through the hierarchy of the church, there tends to be I don't know, it's some very, very challenging things that you would go through. Um, and it's just one of those things that you have to be, you have to have thick skin to handle. And, uh, a lot of people think that it's easy. It looks easy, because you might see, different people who identify, uh, with certain sexualities or certain alternative lifestyles, and you tend to think that it's easy, but it's very, very hard. So, right, so it's difficult for them. But let me go ahead and let's go ahead and center ourselves, bring us back to the present. Take a deep breath. Blow it out. Focus on diaphragmatic breathing, which you allow the air to expand the belly. Last time, take a deep breath. Wow. All right. Okay. So now, let's go ahead and get started. Like I was saying, it seems like it's a pretty good thing. It looks like they don't have a problem. It looks like they don't have an issue with their lifestyle, because they're kind of grinning and bearing it. A lot of the times, and they see the whispers, and they hear the laughs, and they hear the jokes, and so on and so forth. And I know that that's something that I can only imagine that that's something that my good friend of mine went through. But I'm here to tell you that it's not. I don't know. Suicide is not the answer. It's not the only alternative. Like it's. I know it's overwhelming. I know things are hard. I know things get rough, and I know we grow tiresome of dealing with people and trying to put up with people, and just having to deal with them on a daily basis, and trying to deal with life itself is a challenge enough, and then also to have an alternative lifestyle that some agree with and some may agree with. You have to go through legislator to get legislation to get recognition, for something that it's a label anyway. I mean, why can't we just exist the way that we are, the way that we want to, for that matter? But I'm here to tell you that there is a different way. There is an alternative. It does not always have to end in you taking your life or someone taking their life. So if you have a family member that's a member of the LGBTQ community, share this video with them. I'm more than sure it would help them out. I think it would be very beneficial. All right, any veteran that is struggling with suicide, anybody that's struggling with suicide, I would encourage you just to share the Live Life message with them. Like I said, I'm on here every night, from almost every night, 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. So, I am here. All right, and I think we should always be able. I think mental health isn't talked about enough. I think that's the thing. It's like this taboo. Nobody really wants to talk about it. you know, you have all these types of alphabet diagnosis, which lead people to force identify, just like the LGBTQ community. You know, you have to,
LGBTQI plus.
Oh, QI plus. I didn't know that. My bad.
Pretty soon it's going to be QIP plus.
There's, yes, the alternative lifestyle community. Okay, let's go with that. Because, you know, there's also the poly community. There's also the LS community. You know, there's a lot of them that, you know, identify differently. You know, they have to identify themselves under labels, which I think is not, you know, it's very unnecessary. But anyway, let's jump right into it. So, androgyny. Oh, wait a minute. Let me introduce my guest. This young lady this woman is a very, very accomplished individual. She has a degree in psychology. She's also a nurse. She's been a nurse for many years, and she has She has coached hundreds of people and helped them become the strongest version of themselves. Okay, and out of the kindness of her heart, she founded the I Speak Foxye organization, and it is a organization that focuses on women, men, and children who have experienced sexual assault or sexual violence, right? And experienced, not victims, or not have been victims, but experienced, have had that experience, right? She provides coaching, she provides shelter connections, she provides toiletries, food, and did I say free coaching? What else? Clothes. They do homeless, all that homeless volunteer, like the whole gambit. And a lot of that stuff she pays for out of her own dime. So I did put the link in there. So if you want to donate, it's the I Speak Foxye Cash App. You know, please feel free to do so. But she will be joining me tonight. So let me welcome none other than Foxye Jackson is in the building.
Hey.
Yes. So, yes, occasionally she'll be joining me to talk about, you know, these wonderful topics that we talk about so well together. All right. So tonight we're just gonna pick up where we left off in part one.
I don't even know where we left off.
I don't either, but
we're just
gonna pick up.
Topic.
Yeah, same topic. Not where we left off. Goddamn, we're gonna go on the topic. So I'll start with unless you want to start with something. Anything off the top of your head?
No, I'm talking about that when you finish.
Okay. So if you don't realize that when you're first born, your sex hasn't been determined yet. So while you're going through the trimesters, or you're going through conceived, is it the conception?
When you're first conceived, your sex is
right. So when you first conceived, you're androgynous, right? You're not just automatically shot out, bam, you're a male or a female. You are androgynous at that particular point of inception until, I don't know how many months it is before.
It's 4 weeks.
Yeah.
4 weeks, 4 months they can tell.
Yeah, until they're able to tell your sex, like you're androgynous, like you're not male or female. You're just there, right? They cannot determine the sex at that point. As long as you're healthy and you got your all 10 fingers and toes and everything, your parents are pretty much excited. In general, that's how it usually is. they're not so much concerned about whether you are a male or a female. They're just concerned that you are healthy, right? Which should always be the case, right? I mean, you should, that attitude universal, and you should always feel, about your child or any child like that. You should just feel like as long as they're healthy and good. However, as we grow, we come out of the womb, we begin to make our own decisions about how we choose to identify, whether we want to be male or female. Even if you're in a male or female body, you choose that you want to be, you want to identify as a male or what have you. Your masculine energy may be higher than your feminine energy, and you choose to, identify as such. And um, therefore, you have this, what we would call homosexuality, right? Or same-sex attraction, or all that good stuff. But particularly, the androgynous spirit is, once you have, you've been born and you're living your life, and you decide to say, hey, I am a male, but I want to, I want to tap into more of my feminine energy, or female, and I want to tap into more of my masculine energy. And you live your life as such, and you are involved with both male and female relationships. And in the indigenous culture, the androgynous spirit was considered to be, deified, because you were able to experience the world on both sides. You had the best of both worlds, and that particular person was not looked at any differently, but well, except for the fact that they were deified. Like you were, you were held sacred. You were treated as royalty, if you will, if you were to identify with, with both sexes. And it's not something that was frowned upon. It was something that was glorified, and and it wasn't something that we. Oh, there he is.
Marino! Oh my gosh, I just asked about him like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, you just messed up.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Whole energy. Yeah. So yeah, man. Shout out to my boys in blue out there. Yeah. So like I said, there's that history to the androgynous spirit. But we, instead of calling them, what they are, we have to, we have to they have to identify with these labels, transgender, or the slang terms, or trannies, and for me personally, I feel like you shouldn't have to label yourself, because when you label people, they tend to identify themselves as such, or they tend to act as such, and as opposed to just being who you are. Even though you may feel like I'm beyond that, or I'm not a label, or I'm this, or I'm that, there's still that forced identifier there, right? And it's just like, even when you're just in a marriage, a heterosexual marriage, there's a sense of ownership there, because you're married, right? Married versus a couple that's just together, right? There's even a difference in that. Well, we're better than your couple. We're better than you guys because we're married, and then the married people are like, oh, I wish I could just be together, and that way I can be single from time to time if I want to, and just be with somebody. So it's like, why do we have to have these labels on each other when, ultimately they don't really hold a lot of water anyway? And then you have some that'll be like, well, no, because we need to have these laws and legislature, because you want to be on insurance, and you want to have a say so when somebody goes into the hospital and so on and so forth. I get it. I do. I get it wholeheartedly. But in that, why does there have to be some kind of written law for me to stick up for my partner? That's I'm obviously, of course, I'm not just going to be there trying to make decisions, on my partner's life and although there's some people who do, I get it. Like there's an answer for everything. I get it. But I think it's unnecessary. But anyway, and that androgyny, because it was deified, it was accepted, okay, in that community. This is the main reason why I wanted to bring that up. It was, instead of them alienating them or trying to make them feel less than, and causing them like we do now, we try to make people feel less than because they identify with a certain lifestyle, and we do the shaming, we do the bullying, and they feel guilty, and suicide is the outcome. And we wonder why, we scratch our head and we wonder, why did this person, I don't know why this happened. Why did they do that? Like, why would they take their own life? And it's from the way we treat people, it's no wonder why. That's why, the way we treat people, and not just, not just homosexuals or LGBTQ community, not just him, just anybody in general. We have there's a great deal of people who go through these things and they have no one to turn to because everybody's rejected them. Everybody has told them their opinion and how they should do and how they should live their life and why things are, not going their way. All types of judgment and things that are thrown at them on a continuous basis, and it would not happen if they identified as a quote unquote normal person. And even in that, even in that in itself, you think that for you to sit up there and think that something's wrong with someone. Well, I mean, we do that as well, and I'm just like, wow, so something's got to be wrong with me because I identify with an alternative lifestyle. It's just like there's a lot of stress, connected to that. There's a great deal of stress to that. So I mean, that's why people are becoming overwhelmed, depressed, and anxious, and they check out what we feel at an early time. And I don't feel like people should have to be pushed to identify with something like that, because the little man from North Carolina, when he came out to his parents, his mother at the time, he was a 9-year-old. I don't know if they're in 3rd or 4th grade, and he decided to come out to his mom that he was a homosexual. So his mom, she applauded him, she encouraged him, and she thanked him for his courage. But on the flip side of that, he goes to school, does the same thing to his friends and his teachers, and his peers, of course, began to ridicule him and bully him, and they didn't take it very well, and he killed himself. So and I'm thinking to myself, what's happening on our end to where a 9-year-old feels like he has to identify himself sexually? Like, why is that even happening? Like, what's happening, to our society if a 9-year-old has to take himself out because he's bullied, because he was a homosexual? I mean, I don't know. I think we've gone like way overboard, and we need to reel ourselves back in and share some love, some peace, and some harmony with with each other, so we can kind of start vibrating on a higher level. And no, it's not all of us, but the majority of us, we struggle with this, with just being different in general. I mean, you can tell that about what's going on in the what the media portrays is going on now. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say about androgynous spirit. You want to tap in, chime in on some of that?
On the flip side of that, for the 9-year-old, my question would be, what are the parents teaching their children that the children feel that it's okay to bully someone because of their differences? Children learn how to respond to other people being different by watching and hearing their parents respond to other people being different. It is very unusual for a child who grows up in a home that is accepting of other people's choices. It's very unusual for that child to go to the school and bully someone to the point that that person feels like they need to commit suicide. So my question would be about the parents. Once we begin to accept our responsibility for everyone who's in the world, and once we begin to understand that we are all connected to one another because we are all spiritual beings, then we'll begin to feel differently about one another. But from my perspective, and it's quite obvious to be factual, that most of Western society believes in separatism. Everybody must be separate, and separatism breeds pride. And pride meaning that one group feels that they're better than another group because they have a different set of rules to live by. So you have religious people who feel they are better than those who are homosexual or gay or lesbian or transvestite or transsexual or drag queens or intersex and polyamorous. They feel like they're better than them because they adhere to the religious dogma of whichever religion they're affiliated with.
Right.
And what they are really doing is being hypocritical, because you proclaim a religion that says that your God loves everyone, but then you're okay with someone being cruelly discriminated against because they are different in whatever way. You decide which of the differences are okay and which are not. For example, you're okay with gossiping, which gossiping has caused many people to commit suicide out of shame and guilt and fear. You're okay with backbiting. You're okay with pointing out other people's differences, which is a form of pride. And speaking of pride, there is a parade tomorrow for Poly. There is Pride Weekend, which I thought was later in the month, but apparently it's not.
I think it's the whole Gay Pride.
I thought Gay Pride was like around the 22nd, 21st.
Oh,
Yeah.
Look it up right quick.
I'll have to ask my sister. And speaking of that, because I do a lot of speaking on sexual assault, I cannot speak without speaking about that. Um, in the LGBTQI plus community, sexual assault happens just as well. And often it happens to those who have openly declared whatever their sexuality is. Is this weekend?
Positive image.
Oh, the 15th. Oh, that was today.
Yeah, well, it was one today.
Ah,
Yeah, that's gonna be. That was a festival. Festival was today,
and then the parade is tomorrow
which is
down in Cedar Spring.
yeah.
Oh, okay. So I wanted to talk about sexual assault in the LGBTQI plus community. Many times when someone from that group is sexually assaulted, they will not go and report it because of fear that they will be outed, meaning that someone will find out that they are not heterosexual. And so it becomes a double trauma, the trauma of actually being sexually assaulted, and then the trauma of having to possibly come out to those who are involved in the case. I am a sexual assault nurse, and if it came to the point that you were sexually assaulted and you did not feel comfortable telling your story to the nurse who was at the hospital, I would be willing to have you call me, and I would meet you at the hospital to do your sexual assault exam. Because many times there are those who are intersex, meaning they're in between, changing their gender, their physical gender. And so their anatomy doesn't look like what is declared normal for a female or normal for a man. And so there can be some added embarrassment there, added shame, added trauma. And so a lot of times you will find people committing suicide and you don't even know what happened, but some of them are so afraid of the backlash that they will get from family, that they would rather kill themselves than to face the negative backlash, the negative comments, the criticism, the placement in hell, just this constant, because they've already heard what their family says about people in this community, period. So when they find that they themselves are part of that community and then they become sexually assaulted, then because of this other negativity, some feel like they quote deserved the sexual assault because of what they were doing, or they cannot tell anybody because then their mother or their father or their sisters or brothers or aunts, uncles, cousins, whatever, will find out that they are not heterosexual.
Right.
And so this leads to a lot of depression, a lot of isolation, which are often precursors to suicide. And so I have placed one of the phone numbers there, which is the Gay Lesbian National Hotline. You can also call the regular Dallas Area Rape Crisis Hotline or the National Sexual Assault Hotline. And I feel like it's important because of this weekend, because it is Pride weekend. There's a lot of partying. There's a lot of extra love going around. There are also a lot of predators who are out there with their fancy little drugs to put in your urine. I mean, in your. I'm thinking about doing a urinalysis to put in your drinks, and and when they do that, it's called a drug facilitated sexual assault. So these are things that are possible. So I encourage you that if you're going out to party, you're going out to the parades, you're going out to hang out with friends, to just be aware that it doesn't take very much to drunk you. It doesn't take very much to slip something in your drink. To be mindful and have your drink in front of you, in your hand, within eyesight at all times. To partner up with someone that you're going to be hanging out with. And think of your safety at all times. And do know that it doesn't matter where you're from, what side of town you're on, whether you're in places that you feel are safe. This thing happens.
Mm-hmm.
People are sexually assaulted in Plano, Frisco, Deep Ellum, Dallas, Oak Cliff, Lancaster, Cedar Springs, out on the highway, out in the boondocks, in the inner city. People are sexually assaulted everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Everywhere. It is. It is.
It's everywhere, and it's depressing, but it is.
Yeah, safety is definitely something that you want to be concerned with, especially at times like this. You know, I hate to say it, but you double up, even quadruple up. You know, people are less likely. Predators are less likely to attack. You know, if there's there's groups of you, which I think that it's sad. It's sad to have to even live like that, but that's just been the way of the Western world. You know, that's just kind of what they do. You okay?
Yeah.
That's just kind of what they do. We are constantly trying to better ourselves as a people, and it's out of fear. It's hard for us to accept one another. It's hard for us to be around each other. It's hard for us to trust each other. So unifying will become easier when we can do that, when we can focus on those things. But it's really challenging to focus on those things when we are lashing out at people because of their alternative lifestyle, because of their skin color, or because of their status, whether it be rich or poor or whatever. We're in a constant state of judgment and judging people for anything. I mean, it's any little thing. If it's not LGBT stuff, or if it's not black and white issues, we're body shaming people. The gambit of things is like it's unlimited, and it's almost like you can't blame anybody for wanting to check out early, because like we're not providing a harmonious place for them to reside. In the spirit. And let me just touch on the spirit in general. The spirit can't inhabit a body that's sick or in a constant state of stress, right? Because if you notice, a lot of people call it depression and fatigue and all these symptoms and everything. That's because there's no way for them to explain it in words what's going on. But it is what's literally happening is your your body is starting to break down from the daily wear and tear of, depression and anxiety, the body shame and the guilt that you feel. All these things are dragging your body down, dragging your immune system down, and it makes you, susceptible to diseases. So the body becomes sick, and the spirit can't. The spirit's not going to stay, right? So you ever notice that depressed or people that end up getting sick or very very ill, they sleep for a long time, or they go into a coma because the spirit is not going to stay there. The spirit is going to leave the body where it's either you're going to sleep when you're supposed to, but sometimes when you're depressed and you're anxious, it's either the worst of both ends. Either you can't sleep, because you're anxious, or you're sleeping all day and all night because you're depressed. 2-3 days at a time. So the body can only take so much of that. Sleep deprivation is one of the number one causes of death, right? And of course they're not going to tell you that. You're not going to see this advertised anywhere. But sleep deprivation is one of the main causes of dis-ease in the body. I guarantee you, once you peel back the layers and you find out what's really going on, I guarantee you, sleep deprivation is one of the number one things. And because of that, people check out early because their body is just fatigued. Their mind is they're mentally fatigued, they're physically fatigued, and they're spiritually fatigued. And the spirit will leave the body, and you will transition into the next life. You will have to transition into the next life because your spirit's not going to stay there anymore. It's the body is just a meat suit, and we're just using it to have this experience down here. When the body can no longer hold the spirit for the experience, then that's when you're looking at transitioning, and your energy is going to find somewhere else to inhabit. So that's just the way that it is. You not only have that, but checking out, or deciding to take your own life is, it's a lot, guys. It's a lot. I just think we should do more on our end. Like I said in the last video, we all have a role to play in preventing suicide, all right, and bringing awareness to suicide. Check on people, call and check on people. Just call and say hi. We don't do enough of that as it is. Just call and say, hey man, I just wanted to check on you. Hey girl,
not text.
How you doing? No, yeah, call. Actually, physically call.
There's so many things that you can hear in somebody's voice that you can't hear in a text message. And I really think we should stop saying alternative lifestyle. Because it's alternative to what? Heterosexuality?
Well,
so who said that heterosexuality was the only lifestyle that was possible? Or was the only lifestyle that's right? Because when you say it's an alternative, then that means I'm doing something against the normal. I'm doing something against what is considered right.
Well, not necessarily saying normal is right. Like I mean it in a context of quote unquote.
I'm not talking about you.
Oh, okay.
People often say, oh, they live an alternative.
Oh, okay.
Meaning
gotcha.
It's an alternative to what it's supposed to be.
Right. Okay.
And it's supposed to be heterosexual. Well, that's not exactly true.
Right.
It's supposed to be whatever they choose it to be, because they have the freedom to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And they have recognized that freedom for the most part. Some of them have, some of them have not.
Right.
And when we recognize our freedom, you have the freedom to live in a homosexual relationship, or heterosexual, or transvestite, or bisexual, or polyamorous. You have the right to live freedom to choose whatever lifestyle you choose to have.
Yes, ma'am.
So it is your chosen lifestyle, not your alternative. Because that means there's something else that's supposed to be better. No. Whatever you choose your lifestyle to be, that's what's best for you. And that's what matters. And the challenge would be to love yourself enough to accept your choice, to be okay with your own choice. Because there are people out here who will love you regardless of what lifestyle you've chosen to have.
Right.
I want to also tell some of the things that you should do. If you are sexually assaulted, whether male or female or in between, or you're with someone who's been sexually assaulted, if you feel like you can't remember what happened, or the person doesn't remember what happened, do whatever you can to prevent, him or her from urinating, which is peeing or voiding, before they get to the hospital for their sexual assault exam. Because the urine is needed. The clothes they have on is needed. The DNA that could be on their body is needed. That could be in their mouth is needed. So it's important that you do not take a bath. Although I understand that is the first thing you want to do when you've been sexually assaulted. It is very important that you do not take a bath. As a forensic nurse, we are excited when you have not taken a bath. Some have come in and they'll try to explain why they have a certain odor because they haven't taken a bath since the assault. That's exactly what we want. That's what we expect. The odor doesn't bother us because we're there to do our job. We're there to collect evidence.
Right.
And it doesn't do us any good if you wash it all down the drain. So those are some simple. Don't brush your teeth. Don't drink anything. Try not to eat anything. Just try to get to the hospital as soon as you can. And if you do bathe or brush your teeth or eat or drink afterwards, still get to the hospital for your sexual assault exam because there's still evidence that can be collected. And it's about it.
Awesome. Cool. Well, live life, guys. Live life. Don't like I said earlier, you have the freedom to do and be whatever it is that you want to be. To identify with whatever you want to identify. You are here. You came to this life. You signed up for this life, right? You inhabited a body in order to live life, to experience life in the human body, in human form. Okay, you were a spirit, and you decided to come down to lower your vibration enough to inhabit a human body and walk the earth in this life-like classroom, right? And learn all these wonderful lessons that life has to offer, and to have all of the experiences living in the human body provides. Okay, and these conscious experiences that we have will help you develop your subconscious as well as your superconscious, because as we know it, these are the only things that the only experiences that we have on a conscious level that will raise our vibration. That those experiences give us the ability to learn and it gives us the ability to decide on what we want to experience, what we want to feel. So I would invite you to explore this life. Okay, don't be held back by social norms. Uh, all these taboo things and he say, she say, and they say. That's one of the pet peeves of mine. They say, they say this, they say that. Who the hell cares about what they say? Nobody give a damn about who is they. You know what it's like? Who is they? Why are we so concerned about what other people think, right? And on another note, people's sexual orientation, lifestyle, or whatever the hell they do behind closed doors is private, right? And I don't know what needs to happen, but we need to find ourselves staying out of people's private affairs. Like that is so private, and to have people to force identify with some kind of freaking label, it really, really bothers me, and it gets under my skin, and I don't feel like people should be subjected to stuff like that. It's ridiculous. It's really, really ridiculous, and we should stop. We should stop it.
Yeah.
Like we really should stop it because people are they're so bent on these things that they are taking their own life. Like that should be a pop-up, a red flag to us to say, hey, we might need to rethink what we're doing if we got a 9-year-old feeling like he needs to come out sexually. He needs to identify with his sexuality at 9 years old. And I'm just like, I think that something's wrong. Okay. And I know, ultimately in the world of metaphysics and all that good stuff, nothing is so-called wrong or right. Things are. I get that. But we have done our children a disservice if they feel like they need to identify sexually at freaking 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. I really believe that. I really believe we're doing a child a disservice if they feel like they have to come out to their parents or they have to come out to their teacher. And I think that's it's overboard. Obviously, he wasn't stable enough to take on that identification, right? So he unfortunately took his own life because it was so overwhelming for him. The rejection was so overwhelming, and I just don't think children are equipped just yet to handle having to force identify. And I know, they're gonna say, well, nobody forced him to identify. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We did. You talking, watch what you say around children, right? Watch what you say when you're talking in children's presence, right? Especially when it comes to things like that, because they're going to look at themselves and base their self-esteem and the way they see themselves according to how you see them. Okay? Excuse me. That's a fact. That is a psychological fact that a children's confidence and self-esteem comes from the way that their parents view them, not because of any way that they feel. Right? So if a child hears you talk down about someone who is homosexual or they identify something other than what we consider the norm, they're going to feel that same way. And they're going to feel that social pressure if they feel like, that's something that they want to identify with, right? So now, you have children that are taking themselves out because they feel like they have to identify with a sexual orientation. Like, come on, guys, this is a lot. But anyway, I think that's it. That's what I wanted to, I think we can close out part. We want to close out the homosexuality and androgynous spirit. With do you want to do a part 3?
I may do a part 3 because
We can do a part 3. I'm with it. Y'all want to say part 3? Leave me something in the comments.
yeah.
And we will capitalize more on some part 3, because I mean we can go into some different areas, because we have clients who are homosexual and who identify with something other than the social norm of what a couple should be, you know. And I heard somebody say that somebody left a comment on a post about, you know, this is 2018. Nobody cares if you're gay or lesbian or straight or nothing like that. And I was like, au contraire.
But they care.
Au contraire.
Because they still want to
Yes, no.
criticize and ostracize people because of their sexuality. And I know we're talking about the 9-year-old, but even if you're 90 years old, who gives a shit who you sleep with?
Right.
I mean, I really don't give a shit. And to me, if you want to talk about something being gay, it's kind of gay that you want to know what I'm doing in my bedroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you're a man, why are you concerned about who that other man is sleeping with unless you want the man yourself?
Yeah.
If we want to put it out there.
Yeah.
Or if you're a woman, why are you concerned about who I'm walking down the street holding hands with unless you want me for yourself?
Right.
Because
that's some homosexual stuff right
there. I used to, my sister, for as long as I can remember, every time we're together and we're like out walking around, she holds my hand. And she's done that, like I said, as long as I can remember, she's done that. It's my younger sister. And, you know, people would look at us like we were a couple. But you're wrong. So then you become the ass because you just assumed that because we're two females and we're holding hands that we have to be a couple that's romantically involved. And that's not even the truth. And if it was, why is it of your concern?
It's none of your business.
It's none of your business.
Mind your business.
If I want you to know, I'll tell you. If you want to know the truth, you can ask me. That don't mean I gotta tell you.
But you scared, so you're not gonna ask.
No, you ain't gonna ask me.
You scared.
That's just not gonna happen. But you know, once I'm really having a hard time understanding why people feel like they have to know everything about another person, but they don't want you to know anything about them.
Right.
They want to be all in your business, want to know who you sleeping with, when you did it, where you did it, why you did it, and then tell you you're going to hell, but you don't want me to tell you don't want to tell me nothing about you.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a problem with that. And I think people, when they start to turn their eyes inward and work on themselves and try to build themselves up and raise their own vibration, and learn to study themselves, find out where your beliefs originate, find out what your thoughts are, find out why you think those things.
Do some meditation.
Do some meditation or something. You know,
journal or something.
Yoga. Take a damn walk.
Do candle exercise.
Read a book. You know, something that can...
Do some push-ups.
Do some fucking crunches. How about that?
Squats.
Planks.
Damn. Curls or something. Do some
Dying
cardio.
cockroach.
There you go.
I almost say cockroach.
Man.
Leave it to me. Do something other than get in somebody else's business.
Yeah, man. You got to stay out of people's business, man.
Yeah.
I mean.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
You got to actually start loving yourself.
Oh.
Because when you love yourself and you fall in love with yourself, then yourself becomes interesting. And then you want to study it just like you would a new partner.
Right.
But because you don't find much interest in yourself, you want to be in everybody else's business. And I really don't care if you challenge me or if you disagree, because I've been doing this long enough and I know that to be true.
Yep. So listen, live your life, guys. All right. Live life to the fullest. All right. That's what you signed up for. So live your life. Okay. Live your life. Do whatever it is that you want to do. Do what makes you happy. Okay. Do what makes you happy. All right.
And if you're down at the parade, I know that my sister just told me that they canceled the festival early because of the weather, and I'm quite jealous because I didn't realize that the festival was tonight, or I would have put on something.
Yeah, it would have been cool to go check that
I'd
out.
have dressed up like Punky Brewster.
Yeah.
But the parade's tomorrow, and if you see my sister out there, wave at her,
Yep.
say hi.
Shout out to my man Abram. Already.
My ace boom coon,
Shout out to the
aka Tyson. Hashtag get you a motherfucking Tyson. No, that's not the hashtag. That's not the hashtag. That's not the hashtag.
Hashtag get you a Tyson.
Not get you.
Get. Oh.
Get you a Tyson.
Get. G-E-T,
Yes.
not get.
He's
G-I-T.
a sophisticated. He's a damn, I said it again.
Sophisticated, goddamn. He is a sophisticated hairstylist.
He's a sophisticated celebrity hairstylist.
Celebrity, goddamn. That's
Hashtag
celebrity.
get you a Tyson. Not get. Get is for us that can't afford the celebrity hairstyle prices. We gets us a Tyson. Now.
Shout out to the LGBTQIP plus community. You know what I'm saying? We love you guys. Y'all take it easy, man. You know, it can be challenging out there, but do the damn thing.
Yeah.
I think that's it. You got anything else?
I'm on call this weekend, so I mean that's not like a happy moment, but I am on call. So if anybody finds themselves in that unfortunate experience of sexual assault and you're feeling some type of way about who's going to do your exam, give me a call, hit me up on inbox, whatever, and I will gladly meet you up there.
All right. Well, look here, man. I appreciate y'all checking me out, checking us out on the Live Life series. All right. I will be back on tomorrow, 12 a.m. Not sure what the topic is going to be, but it will be good. You know, you might want to bring your pen and paper.
If you have a question,
Just post it. If you got a question about anything, anything, life coach stuff, real estate stuff, relationship stuff, suicide stuff, you know,
intimate partner violence,
right? Especially if you got any questions about sexual assault or sexual violence, you know, definitely reach out. If you have any questions about a relationship, violence in a relationship, or definitely reach out. And we've coached, I think, every dynamic of relationship. I think we've coached every dynamic of relationship. So, you know, there's nothing that's too much for us. Now, because I know some of our clients were like, well, we just felt like our situation was just too much. And, you know,
they get around me and decide they don't want to.
Yeah.
They don't want me to know.
Right.
They like someone of the same sex.
Right.
They'll try to hold back.
Right.
Not realizing that.
So and this is a judgment-free zone. Like, you know, we have our opinions, and we're tough on our opinions because we know them to be factual. You know, but like I said, it's still our opinion, quote unquote. But you know, that's because we feel strong about our opinion because, for one, it's our opinion, and two, we've actually experienced these things, and we coach the people who have these real world experiences. Like, we're real people, and we coach real people who go through real situations, not, you know, some cookie cut stuff that, you know, I'm not gonna do that. But anyway, there's no problem is worse or better than any other problem. So I'm not gonna say that. But yeah, that's it. So man, look here. Y'all take it easy, man. All right. Live life to the fullest.
I'm going to bed after I call my sister.
Live life to the fullest. And I love you guys. If nobody ever told you I love you today, I love you. All right. I love you from the bottom of my heart. Y'all take it easy, man, and try not to do too much. I will catch you tomorrow, 12 a.m. and be there or be square. I'm out.
Square.
Peace.
Some of us are called square.
Some of us are called triangles too.
Triangles, squares, polygons.
Polys and there's poly and
What's that damn rhomboid? What's that one called?
pentagon.
Polygon? Polygons! Woo!
Anyway. All right, y'all. Peace. Man. Goodness. I can't have you on that show ever again.